Indigenous Affairs Minister Linda Burney could become our next Governor-General, according to reports in the Daily Mail, with her nomination being openly discussed by those in the know. This would make her the first Indigenous head of state. Let's bring in now commentators Jason Morrison and former Speaker of the House, Bronwyn Bishop. So wonderful to have both of you. Hello. Bronwyn, would Linda Burney make a good Governor-General?
Well, Sharri, I have no problem with former members of Parliament and ministers being appointed as Governor-General, and Bill Haydon, of course, who's just passed, he was an extraordinarily good Governor-General and represented the country well. Paul Hasluck was another one. So my concern for Linda Burney, I think, is that it's a very vigorous job, it's very busy, and honestly, I don't know that she's awfully well. So I think it's a bit difficult to make a judgment upon.
I don't know much about her health or her, you know, how well she's doing or not. I have seen various reports, but I don't personally know what's true or not.
But that's what you see on television when she's in the House. But I don't know. I don't know.
And what you see matters, because the role of a Governor-General is, apart from the administrative roles that go on, the doors are closed, it's what you see in public that gives strength to the office, and she lacks that. I also think this is a person who is inherently divisive. We've seen her, you know, essentially sort of try for the last 6 months to be part of the broader sabotage of harmony in Australia for political reasons. And you look at her history, and I have known her and her history in New South Wales politics for a long time. She's a hard left, pro-republic. I mean, it's more than that. It must be a president, must be an Aboriginal president kind of person. She's not a unifier, and a Governor-General should be that. And you mentioned some of those great names beforehand who have been parliamentarians. They're in the next class to this individual, and she has spent a lot of her political career trying to be as divisive as she possibly can. No on that one, and bad choice. And this is another, I would imagine, thought bubble about trying to create a little bit of history here. You know,
if the things you say, Jason, are true, then Albanese would be probably likely to make it for it, just to say up you for losing
the voice referendum. Now, Bronwyn, overnight we saw Anthony Albanese and Joe Biden at the White House state dinner after a series of meetings, a press conference in the Rose Garden. What have you made of the visit?
Well, it's quite amazing when you need Biden to remind our Prime Minister that China is tricky to deal with. And we've already seen his Albanese cave in on the Port of Darwin question. Chinese can stay there for another 99 years, really? That's in Australia's interests? So you wonder how many other trade-offs he's made. So maybe Biden's comment there was prescient, but then there was the other strange comment up there in his bow tie, making his speech with the golden eagle and saying, my darling, this is the best date night I can take you on. I mean, seriously? This is supposed to be a time of importance where we're really bringing together that strong alliance, and flippery? I think not.
Jason, I also think it's just not the right time. I mean, we've got this war in Israel that's deeply affecting so many of us. We're in a permanent state of depression. And then other people are struggling to even feed their families in this cost of living crisis.
Well, you remember last time, I think it was President Biden was due to come out and see us. He called it off at the very last moment because he had a domestic problem. His domestic problem was, I think, about debt ceilings or something like that. He called it off because he knew that it would look shocking to come out and be involved in the big circus. Well, of course, our Prime Minister has gone there to be involved in the big circus, and it does look appalling back here to Australia when Australians are looking. I mean, what was the number one issue? 81% in the Financial Review survey conducted of thousands of people. The issue they want their government dealing with, cost of living. National security is sure up there, but it's about number 10. And by the way, Australia and the United States are going to be like that and that forever because it is simply the inherent nature of our two countries and our history.
Bronwyn, what do you think of the leadership Albanese has shown on Israel?
I think it's appalling. I think the fact that the Prime Minister of Israel has not even returned his call says a lot about perhaps what he thinks of Albanese's true feelings that go back to the time of his being, yes, in his early days in the Parliament, but the fact that he's got so many in his own cabinet who are not showing that he's fair dinkum when he says he supports Israel's right to defend herself. And of course, we disagreed last week. And I think, Jason, when we spoke, I said he should go to Israel because that at least would show he was fair dinkum.
Show of support, yeah.
And I still think that's the case. And yes, there may be difficulties, but we've got the Department of Foreign Affairs to iron out those things. He should go to Israel.
Agree.
I'd say the boss over there started 5 minutes on Google and found out about the real Albanese and thought, what's the point? I mean, how long did it take you to find that clip?
It's not only that history, it's what he's done since he's been in government. It's the policies he's done. But Jason, I wanted to ask you about that ABC reporter. I played her remarks at the start of the program. You were watching them live. What did you think about that?
A moment of weakness. Yeah, I've had the television on and I'm listening to this, very passionate activist talking about the sort of, you don't really understand the whole Palestinian situation. Talking point, and I heard it and I was impressed with the way she spoke and I was impressed at her passion. I disagreed fiercely with what she had to say. And then at the end I saw ABC correspondent. I thought they were talking to an activist because I guess they were. And what we got and what went to air were the ramblings of someone who was an activist, not a journalist. And she was out there. It was a bit like she felt an obligation to go and correct all the things she disagreed with on the public airwaves.
From the ambassador's speech.
They have lost their way on this. And look, the ABC's always been in the little corner on these issues when it comes to Israel. But, the 24-hour channel opens up the door a lot, unfortunately, to the inner thinkings of the joint. And they've got some problems if they thought that was an acceptable thing for a correspondent to be doing.
They're going to have to apologise for that, no question. Bronwyn Bishop, Jason Morrison, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time this evening.